Chapter 6. Bella's Point of View. The next morning, I was woken by alarm clock playing S My D by Blood on the dance floor. My logic for setting this terrible song as my alarm was simple. I really hated this song. So I knew that if I set it as my alarm, I would have to get up to stop it, and this would wake me up. Still half asleep, I threw on a pair of black jeans, black Converse high tops, and a white t-shirt way too big for me. After yesterday, I wasn't ever going to try and skip school again. I knew a fucking omen when I saw one. I left my hair down and brushed on a small bit of mascara, too lazy to do my usual makeup routine. Running downstairs, I grabbed my phone, and at the same time, I accidentally knocked over a picture of me and my parents. I forgot about the fact that I was late and sat down on the floor. I stared at the picture in my hands. We had all been smiling at the camera. It had been a sunny day out, but I only had bad memories about this trip. All of the people in this picture were dead. My parents had died when I was pretty young. My dad had been an army general and had made some enemies. That's what the police has said anyway. My mother had hung on for as long as she could without him, but in the end, she took her own life. If it wasn't for him, I would be dead with them now. Well, she exclaimed, happy at a chance to yell at me once again. If it isn't Miss Rulebreaker, all phones must be turned off during class. You know how much they interrupt our learning process. Unless this is an emergency. Why don't you read the text you just received for the whole class to hear, since it was obviously so important to get out attention? I hated that rule she had. She had even printed out a sign that said, if you interrupt us with a text, we'll get to know why. Which said right under a sign that said, math is tea for your mind. Yeah, she was a little high-strung. My face went white. Well, whiter than it already was. You can't legally do that, I said softly. I know it wouldn't work, but I could try. She shook her head. Yes, but I can fail you, dear. So speak loudly when you read. We all want to hear the gossip. I looked down at my phone hesitantly. I had that ringtone for one person only, Caden. I reached down and grabbed my phone, scared to read what it said. I stammered. It says, hope you had a good morning. Knowing you're in math class right now, and knowing that you forget to turn your phone off. You might have to read this out loud, sorry. My voice faltered. Keep reading, sunshine, the teacher said with a smirk on her face. Spread the word around that you have a boyfriend. I finished speaking in almost a whisper, my last words creating murmuring to circulate around the room. Go to the principal's office now, she said, looking livid. We do not use this time to bring up your relationship to boost your self-esteem. I grabbed my stuff and hurried out of class as fast as I could. My phone rang and my stomach fluttered when I saw it was him. To my surprise, I wanted to talk to him, to hear his voice, and tell him how fucking stupid he was for what he had just put me through. I wanted to know who this man was that was ruining my life. I pressed answer call and held the phone up to my ear. Yes, I said softly, tentative about who would be on the other end. You okay, love? He asked. I took a shaky breath. His voice was husky, and he sounded concerned for me. But fuck that. He had been the one to put me in that situation. I didn't want anyone to know I had a boyfriend, especially when I didn't. Why did you do that? I asked, my nails tapping anxiously against my phone. Just wanted to call you, but I can't have these people looking at you like they do. God, Bella, you don't even see how their eyes follow you. You're mesmerizing. He stopped, talked for a second. How are your hands? A hint of concern creeping into his voice. I sighed. Why did he go through all that just to call me? I guess it was all just to see how I was. Please, I said. Just leave me alone. I'm so tired of this game. No answer. Did you save me yesterday? Did you doubt it was me? He asked. Thank you. But seriously, please leave me alone. I can't take much more of this. I felt tears pressing against my eyes. I really didn't think I could go on like this. Even over the phone, I heard him sigh. Don't worry, love, he said softly. I'm here for you. But just be careful, okay? And I will hurt anyone who looks at you the wrong way. With that, the phone went dead. I closed my eyes and tried to stop from crying. Fuck, I hated this, but at the same time. I shook my head and continued walking to the principal's office. I replayed the sequence of events that had happened, and he nodded, I'll chat with Mrs. Red. But in the meantime, Bella, I think we should talk about maybe getting you some sessions with the school counselor. I shook my head. No, I'm fine. Jenna said it was okay when I stopped going to therapy because my anxiety attacks had almost stopped. He raised an eyebrow. I understand, but after what happened at the dance, I'm a little worried. You've been missing classes, coming in late, and have been a little bit unfocused. I'll let you and Jenna decide, but it's just my recommendation. I grabbed my bag and nodded. I didn't want to go back to therapy or start talking about my feelings with anyone. I had began to go as a kid, after my parents had passed. I'd had some trouble eating, and for long periods of time would stay curled up in a ball in the corner of my room. The panic attacks were separate. I had become paranoid, but now looking back, I wasn't crazy. I began to look behind me everywhere. I swore someone was following me. My therapist has listened, but told me it was just because I was afraid of ended up like my parents. It was kind of a bullshit line, and it didn't make me feel any better. What had made me feel better was the handgun I had locked under my bed in my dad's old safe. I had found it in his office and privately asked Jenna to help me learn to shoot as a safety precaution. She had agreed, but on one condition: I had to keep it locked away and never carry it outside of the house. I wasn't so paranoid anymore, but there was no way I was going back to therapy. I angrily shoved my bag into my locker and grabbed my running clothes. This whole situation was fucking with my head. I just needed some peace.